Hey guys, it's Alex. Kind of wanted to do a Sunday segment, kind of unedited. I'm not going to edit anything. I'm just going to go right through, so it's going to be kind of long. I do want to do it on steels at some point because that's what we're going to be talking about. Obviously, through this whole testing and the custom tests that I want to do, but today I need to sharpen some knives. So we're gonna sharpen the Rex 45, my personal one that I reground. As you can see, the edge is almost gone on it, but we can still cut through, thicker materials like vegetables and stuff like that because we have our thin edge geometry. I actually have some magazine paper. We can still cut fairly well because of that thin geometry, but it does get hung up in places and I just want to throw a fresh edge on it. So my setup is thus. I made this out of some Hawaiian hardwood. I can't remember the name of it. It's used in dock making. I can probably post it on the video. A friend gave it to me. I didn't want to spend $60 on a bridge, so I made one myself. Got these fancy, hex screws. There's inserts you can buy at Lowe's or Home Depot. You can do all this shit yourselves. I drilled holes in it, chamfered everything, did a countersink. So yeah, the primary stones that I use are the Sharpening Pros. Got the 1K here. I'm actually going to use this one for my knife. But Alex, why don't you have diamonds? Diamonds are the way. Diamonds are forever. Guys, listen. You don't need diamonds. You don't need diamonds for most of these steels. Honestly, you don't. Rex 45 it's a super steel, but I mean you have Hat 40 as a sort of equivalent, and these Sharpening Pros will cut right through this, no problem. The things I use for the super steels, these Gritomatic bonded diamond stones. I don't have the 800 or 1K ones yet, but I got the the 240. I think this is, I don't know, whatever. And this is like super gritty, like 180 and then 80. So that's what I have for that. I primarily use Sharpening Pros because they're great in my opinion. I haven't tried Naniwas. I probably never will. If you guys want to get into sharpening, I highly recommend just getting like a cheaper stone. Sharpening Pros are good because they're splash and go. I don't know if King makes a splash and go stone, but they have fairly inexpensive stones that you can get started with. But I just highly recommend sharpening by hand. It's just a good skill to have, and you can you can do it anywhere. You don't need a setup. You don't need a guide. You don't need all that shit. So I mean, if you have any questions about that, honestly, reach out to me or just look at any of the guys online, like the top dogs in it, like Triple B and Michael Christie and those guys. Like, just check it all out. There's other guys too, like I know Murray Carter. I learned a lot from watching his videos, and he used Kings for a very long time until he partnered with not Nanohone, but maybe it's Nanohone. I can't remember. Maybe that's the company. Anyway, I digress. My kid's sleeping, so I'm kind of trying to be a little bit quiet, but whatever. He's fine. So if you're gonna get into it, start out inexpensive first, and then drop money on big stones. I think the next big purchase is gonna be, as far as sharpening, is the Shaped Glass. Not the HC stones, but the other ones for, there's like a high carbon one, and then another type of stone, I can't remember, RC, something like that, RH, I don't know, I can post it up, I can't remember. Anyway, let's get into this. don't have a ton of time. So starting out with a 1K Sharpening Pro, what I do is I just, you know, get it wet. You can buy these cheap sprayers from from Target or your local, like Walmart or whatever. Honestly, I was at, really quick, like a side story, I was at the hairdresser the other day, well, the barber, whatever, and she had this one, it's a misting bottle, and she just, you know, pulled the trigger in and it just mist came out, and they're like $8 on Amazon. So I highly recommend just picking up one of those. Those are nice, and you probably save a ton of water because it's just using mist. So anyway, get the stone wet, a little bit wetter than that. I just got a cheap Nagura stone off of Amazon. I have like another weird one that I got from Woodcraft Supply. It's like super porous and like not really effective. I mean, it's effective, but I want to create some sort of like little slurry, and typically that's what I do when with my straight razors and stuff like that. So I don't know, I'm still experimenting with this Nagura stone right here. I'm probably gonna get a different one, but I just kind of rub it down real quick. I think this is 8,000 grit Nagura stone. I want to get a Tomo Nagura, which means the same in Japanese, same stone. So alright, so I got a little slurry created, whatever. Spray a little bit more water on there, kind of mix it around. You can put a marker mark on here if you want. Because this edge is so thin, we just need a small one, and I typically sharpen around 17 to 18 degrees anyway, so not 15, because I don't know. I start with my left hand first. I highly encourage you to get ambidextrous with sharpening. You can go this way, you can go this way, whatever, but I feel like it's easier if you get your angle here, then you can kind of match that angle over here, sort of thing, you know? So what I'll do is I'll start flat, I'll lay the knife down, and then I'll tip it up to where I think is comfortable, and I'll kind of do like a small pass, and then I'll see, all right, we're hitting our mark, so flip it up, we'll kind of get right there, and we'll just go to town for a little bit. We want to put pressure, light pressure on our fingers. We don't want to put any pressure with our left hand pushing on the knife, because that's just, we're just moving the knife back and forth in the slurry with that hand, and our primary pressure is on our two fingers right here in the front, as you can see, these two fingers. And you can see we got some we're getting some metal filings in here, so it's obviously cutting. We can see that it's cutting, and then if you feel for a burr, we're not quite at burr status yet, so I'm gonna get a little bit more lubrication in there. I've experimented with all different facets of or techniques of sharpening, and this one, it just feels more natural to me. I know there's other guys that do it other ways, or you know, no like holder or anything like that, not over the sink, whatever. Do it whatever way you want, man. Like, you can buy like just a Tupperware bin and do it over that if you want. Alright, so we're starting to get a small burr. And honestly, in my experience, like you want to keep the burr very, very small, because then you got to do less burr reduction in the future. So just keep that in mind. All right, so then I'm gonna flip to this side, do the same thing. And this 1K stone cuts really nice. You get a lot of good feedback from this stone. And what I'm talking about with feedback is, in my experience, diamonds are like a cheap hooker that's kind of like a dead cheap hooker. It gets the job done, but there's no feedback at all. And they get the job done, you know, fairly quickly. Like diamonds do a really good job, obviously, because they're the hardest material, you know, made out of carbon. All right, so we're starting to get a burr there. I'm not liking the way that front part is looking. Just kind of tighten that up a little bit. There, that's much better. All right, so I don't know if you can see because this, so we're pretty even right there, pretty even right there, and then we feel for the burr, and the burr is right there. So I'm gonna stop right there as far as like any sort of like sharpening, burr flipping, whatever. This is where, you know, the talent, not so much talent, but this is where the, you know, not the tricky part, but this is where you need to really hone your skill. And it's where you we're gonna be stropping on the stone, and that's how we're gonna get our burr reduction down. You can go left and right all day long, all you want, but as far as, you know, getting that burr off, you wanna strop it on these stones. There's a Murray Carter way where he puts a piece of newspaper on it. I've tried that, that works, but like, you know, I don't got time for that. I gotta get shit done. All right, so we sharpen on this side. Our burr is gonna be on, you know, this side with the maker's mark. So we wanna feel again, there's gonna be a slight burr. Now, you can do it this way. I like to strop with one hand because then I can get in a groove. But you can strop this way, you can strop this way, you can strop heel to tip, tip to heel, whatever. Left or right, doesn't matter. Whatever's way is most comfortable for you and you're getting the most consistency. Not too much water. And then we kind of want to do one of these, 2, 3. You can count if you want. And then we should be able to feel the burr on the other side, which we do. So then we just go in. And then as far as pressure, people always ask about pressure. Just keep the pressure low, man. Like, now at this point I can't really feel the burr, so what I'm gonna do is pull out my flashlight. This is why I keep flashlights around. And we do, I don't know if you can see. Let me bring that down. You can see like a slight burr, and I still got a burr on that side. So what that says to me is that my angle is too far down and I need to bring it up a little bit. So I'm gonna do that. And I think I can feel the burr now. Yep, the burr's on the other side, so now all we want to do is do that thing again over here, very lightly. Very lightly. So we can check. Okay, got no burr over here. Well, no. It's a lot of this. It's a lot of patience. It's a lot of getting that burr off. Burr reduction is the most important thing about hand sharpening, about sharpening in general. You want to get rid of that burr. We're just going to refine it a little bit. So now, some guys can they can remove the burr off the stones and just go right into stropping. I, on the other hand, cannot, so we're going to do one more pass on here. Okay. So, Chef Knives To Go has a lot of nice sharpening things. That's where I got this stand for these Sharpening Pros. That's where I actually got these Sharpening Pros from Chef Knives To Go. Great site, check it out. Mark is a awesome dude. You can email him, he'll answer all your emails. So, they have this block. It's called a felt block. It's supposed to mimic like a soft wood, and you can use it for burr reduction on chef's knives. I use it for all burr reduction or getting rid of that wire edge. So you just run it through a few times. Yeah, it's going to cut it, but you're not going all the way through with it. You're just kind of running it through. And check the edge. So I mean, that did a pretty decent job. Excuse me. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our strap loaded with compound. This is a 1 micron diamond from DMT. I think when I first bought it, it did the job, but like now that I'm getting more and more into the just like knife care and sharpening and all that stuff, I think it's trash in my opinion. But you know, it's cheap enough, so just experiment with different things. You can also just, you know, spend once, cry once sort of thing, and get really good shit like that. The Ken Schwartz crack that everyone gets, and be happy with life and wonder why you spent $50 on a little bottle of fucking diamond spray. I don't know. It's honestly, it's all up to you, man. But I'm just teaching you, or trying to teach what I know, and hopefully you can just take little tidbits from it and just like fucking apply it to your own way of sharpening. I've watched every single video by Triple B, and I've watched several of his videos like 20 times. And you know, other guys, same thing. Like I've watched all their shit so many times, and like you just gotta fucking watch it, and you just gotta do it one day. You just gotta learn. You gotta fuck up some knives. That's why I recommend just getting a cheap knife and like fucking just doing it, and you're gonna be happy. Once you can like sharpen a knife and you're like happy with the edge, it's such a fucking rewarding feeling. I don't care who you are, it's so rewarding. Yeah, we got bite, man. Oh, I want to do a flashlight real quick. I want to see. So our burr is pretty much gone. I got some hanging out on this side. We could run it through our block again if we want. If you just, you know, go slow and light pressure and just let the diamonds do the work, or whatever compounds on there do the work, it goes a lot better, and you don't have to, you know, put so much pressure on everything. You put too much pressure, it's just not gonna work out for you, man. It's the nature of the game. It's like fishing. Like you ever go out fishing with your grandpa, and he's not teaching you how to fish, he's teaching you about patience, teaching you fucking life lessons. And that's what sharpening is. It's a fucking life lesson. You're gonna learn patience, you're gonna learn, you know, from your mistakes. And it's going to be better in the end for you. So that burr is gone. This is the way I test it with just, you know, a piece of magazine paper, but now we're back to our nice EDC edge. Like, this thing can zip right through this. Oop. Or not. This, in my opinion, that's all you really need is a 1K edge. Even if you use like, you know, those vitrified vitrified diamond or bonded diamond or, you know, CBN or whatever, just a 1K edge with fucking just like a decent compound gives you a really great edge, in my opinion. And you can do like this test too if you want, but it's whatever. Oop. That's probably not going to work on here, honestly. It'll cut through it, but it's not like a fucking crazy polished edge. This is a kind of a nice toothy edge, but we can still get decent results. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to whittle hairs with this. It's not that type of edge. We can shave with it very effectively. So that's all I'm really looking for in an edge, is like just something, you know, that, I mean, you have a thin enough edge, you don't really need a super sharp knife. And here's the deal, is like, here's what they're not gonna fucking tell you. They're not gonna tell you this shit. Is that sharpness is not, has nothing to do with edge retention. Sharpness is what you get off the stones, or what you get off of your sharpening. That's sharpness. That's when you see guys cutting that wire, that's sharpness. That's what that is. When you see people, you know, whittling hairs, that's sharpness. That's what that is. And then your cutting performance is all based on, you know, your geometry, your behind the edge, the thickness of your stock, all that stuff. And then your edge retention is based on a few factors: your heat treat, your composition, and then your actual primary or your secondary cutting edge angle. If you have a thin behind the edge, then you can obtain that thin geometry, and your knife will perform a lot better. Don't think you need an 8K edge on a pocket knife, but that's just me. It's cool to fucking see. I like watching those videos where they fucking just whittle hairs and shit. That's fucking sweet. Yeah, I can get knives there, but I don't need it for my everyday use. And this edge right here is good enough. I mean, it sliced through that fucking magazine paper pretty fucking good. Like, I'm not worried about it. That's a good edge to me. These are all good edges to me. I might have a little burr up at the front, but so yeah, that's the way I handle it, man. I handle it just like that. And honestly, it took me a few years to get work to this point. I remember the first time I tried to hand sharpen a knife. Holy fuck. You know what I had to do after? Take it out and fucking regrind the shit out of it, because my fucking bevel was so high that it fucking looked like dog shit. And then, on top of that, I did a fucking acid etch on it. So I was so embarrassed. And then here, wants some diaper. And then I sold it. So, and whoever bought it loved it. But that's the way I sharpen. And I hope some people took, you know, some notes out of it, and if not, then whatever. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do like just a little quick segments on or not quick, but little long segments, unedited segments on Sundays, and just post them up on YouTube so you savages have something to watch during the week at work or whatever. And then we'll probably try to get into talking about steel. And I want to make the steel talk I want to do is like, I want to kind of just make it very layman's terms, or in terms that everyone can understand, because I know when I was reading, you know, different articles and whose ever articles and different, you know, testing methods and stuff like that, people, it's very educational talk. Some of it gets into layman's terms, but there's a lot of people that need shit simplified down to like A, B, C type of thing. So I'm going to try to do that my best of my ability. I don't know what steel we're going to talk about first, but shit, well, maybe we'll talk about 1095. Just get the ball rolling on that. So, but yeah, that's a quick sharpening demo with Rex 45 on a 1K Sharpening Pro Splash and Go stone. Yeah, give me any feedback in the comments, positive or negative, I don't care, whatever. But if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks guys, appreciate it.